Welcome everyone, we're gonna get started. Thank you for making the time to be here. I'm thrilled to be your instructor today and honored to be kicking off the beginner track of our Mailchimp Masterclass series with the top 10 e-commerce holiday sales driving tips. We're gonna have Q&A after the presentation. Please type your questions in the Q&A box as they come to mind. This class is gonna span a variety of dimensions for your e-commerce business, from marketing to merchandising to inventory management. And it's going to focus on the tips that I have learned over my career as some of the most important for a successful holiday season. Let me introduce myself first, and then we'll dive into the content for about 45 minutes, and then followed by Q&A. I'm Melinda Sandman, the Senior Director of Marketing at Mailchimp. I've been at Mailchimp for about 2.5 years, much of that focused on our web and e-commerce presence. I currently lead several of our marketing channels like email, SEO, social and events, along with our web and optimization teams. And before I joined Mailchimp, I had built a career in e-commerce and retail, which is why I'm your instructor today. Fun fact, I got my start in e-commerce way back in college when I ran our student store, both brick and mortar and e-commerce. And then after college, I started out my career at Gap Inc., working for several brands, including Banana Republic and Piperlime, which was their homegrown e-commerce brand. After that, I joined Carter's Inc., and I actually had the privilege of being their very first e-commerce buyer, so I built that e-commerce business from scratch, growing the business from about $20 million in the first year to over $300 million 7 years later. So I definitely know a thing or two about growing a business, and so much of what I learned over my career, I'm gonna teach you today to help you get set up for a great holiday season. So just to start off here, I wanna emphasize how important the next few months are. According to RetailDive.com, November and December will be significant months for your bottom line. And those days between Black Friday and Christmas are sometimes as much as 50 to 100% more valuable each day than your average day. So what does that mean for you? It means it's more than worth it to spend the time planning and preparing to capitalize on all that traffic. I know it feels like there's a million things to do every day. You have to focus on what happens right now, right? You have to make sure you ship out the orders coming in, focus on your site right now, focus on your marketing right now. But carving out that time to build your plan should be at the top of your list this month, and it'll be more than worth it. We are going to review the top 10 tips in 3 phases. Applying this 3-phase model has always kept me focused on what I really need to do. Having a plan, executing that plan, and then pivoting in real time. Nothing ever goes as planned. And then learning from that plan to grow sales for next year. So we're going to apply these 3 phases. So as you can see here, October, and really the months leading up to October, right? So right now and prior is that pre-season planning, aka plan it. November and December is your in-season management, sell it. And then December into January is your post-season sales and hindsight. And hindsight just means you look back and you learn from it. So let's dive in and review these top 10 tips. We're gonna keep our lens of what to do for planning, selling, and learning. As you can see, the bulk of the tips fall into planning, and we're gonna spend a lot of time in that section. Planning is so crucial to setting up for your season for success. And we're gonna go through the tips quickly here, and I'll dive into a lot more detail with each one. So for Plan It, we're gonna start with some sales driving techniques that you really need to start thinking about now, right? And build it into your messaging and your site experience. That's growing the value of each transaction, the cart, that's creating unique messaging and getting ahead of the competition. And then we're gonna go in, we're gonna use those ideas and we're gonna build a calendar. We're gonna spend a lot of time on the calendar. In all of the e-commerce businesses I managed, a calendar is really the foundation of your business, both for your marketing and your site experience. Then we're gonna move into Sell It. So November's here. We're in in-season management mode. The focus shifts to that influx of traffic that you're gonna be getting. So the tips here are gonna be focused on building your customer list, getting that traffic and growing conversion. And then once Christmas is over, we are gonna shift to getting rid of that excess inventory as profitably as possible and learning from the season while it's still fresh. So with that, let's dive into Plan It. All right, so tip 1 is growing the cart with bundling. Wouldn't it be nice to make more sales on the same amount of customers? You can do that through effective merchandising strategies that will entice their customers to build their cart. So I'm using the term here AOV, which means average order value. Just an interesting term to think about. How much do customers, when they check out, what is the total size of their transaction? Really start planning now to think about implementing these strategies to grow the value of each conversion and make the most of the traffic. We're gonna go through a couple different tips here. We're gonna look at free shipping, we're gonna look at personalization, and then we're gonna look at gifting. We'll talk a lot about gifting throughout the course of this masterclass. So let's look at free shipping. This is a big one. I've used this so many times. So you can see here, and we're gonna go through some of what we call our faux brands here at Mailchimp, but these are just like hypothetical situations. So you can see here for Big Mood Spa, this is a great way to see how you can show customers what they need to spend for free shipping and then how far away they are. This is a great way to get that like $5, $10 ad. I'm sure if you think about yourself as an e-commerce customer, wouldn't you rather spend an extra $5, $10 and get more product than have to spend for shipping? I know I always do. I always like scurry around and try to figure out what else to add to my cart. Make it easy for your customers and merchandise, both tell them how far away they are and then also merchandise great add-ons that they can add in. So this example right here, you can see that Big Mood Spa is offering up great little kind of stocking stuffer, right, type items to get you over the hurdle. So it's often called a hurdle or a threshold for free shipping. Definitely make it really easy, one click. These could have prices on it, would be a great way for customers to know what they're clicking into. And more than anything, make sure that you're not taking them out of the cart. Make sure that the functionality in your site will let them just add right there to cart and then continue to check out. So another way to grow your cart is personalized recommendations. And this can really happen across your entire site. I'm showing about 3 different examples here we're gonna walk through. So this first example here is, think of this as like your product page. So if a customer is going to click from your list page into a product page, this can show how a product might outfit or complement another product right here, showing a lot of things like goes with these looks or similar products. If you sell a variety of items, for example, you're selling apparel and you have like outfitting that would go together, or you have some type of product that like goes best with the collection, this is a great place to put those collections to be able to show customers, oh, if you're gonna buy this, you should buy this and this and this too, and grow their cart. This middle example here is another great way to show what other customers might like as well. So this would be like, maybe they don't particularly like this, but maybe they would like this instead. How do you keep that buying journey going and make sure that they don't abandon altogether? And then on the right, imagine that this is a cart here. Think of this think of when you go in store, right? And you got by the cash register, you've got all these little like pick and mix items, like easy grab and go items. Think of this just like an in-store experience. How do you merchandise those add-ons by the register or checkout? So just like we talked about before in terms of free shipping, your customers are that close to buying anyway. Give them a couple more things to push them over some type of threshold, or just a couple more things that look enticing. Again, pro tip here, make sure to don't take them away from the cart. Use pop-ups to make sure that they continue their checkout journey. And then the last one here is creating gift bundles. We're gonna talk a lot over the next 45 minutes around making it really, really easy for your customers. This is one great example. Do the work for your customers and show them that they can build their cart by creating one-click bundles. So this is a great example here. You've got the photo of all the things in your bundle, and then you've got each individual item. You can go a step further here and show the savings. So maybe this bundle, if you bought it all separately, would be $100, and if they bought it all together, it'd be $70. A great way to get customers to convert and show the value of that gift bundle that you put together. More than anything else, this is the time to win that sale through making your customers' lives as easy as possible. It's a very, very busy time of year. We're gonna talk about the competition, getting ahead of the competition, but there's other things to do besides promotions. Making your customers' lives easy is a big one. All right, tip 2. Stand out with unique promotional messaging. Think about your brand and your business value proposition, right? How do you stand out with unique messaging and give customers a reason to buy besides just pricing? We know brands big and small at this time of year, it's an all-out war. It's gonna be a race to the bottom in terms of how much they can discount to be able to drive that traffic in and drive that sale. Try not to play that game and think ahead to your why before you get into the season. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. So this is just one example here. This Faux Business Flex Start, right, has support women-owned businesses on their homepage to show there's a value besides just buying their product. There's a larger cultural, right, or values-based reason to buy from them. You know, other examples might be a sustainably or ethically produced goods. Local goods is obviously a big trend, right? Shop local. Small Business Saturday, as you see when we'll go into the calendar, is obviously a big one to tout for small businesses. To learn more about branding, definitely check out more masterclasses this week. Michael Mitchell, our Senior Director of Brand Marketing, is going to be teaching a masterclass on branding on Thursday, so definitely check that one out. So the next one here around unique messaging is what we were talking about. Save customers time. How do you create the easy button for customers? So this could be that one-click gifting that we talked about before, or on the right here is using filters in your left navigation to be able to quickly show customers if they have $20 to spend, $10 to spend, they have a white elephant gift exchange, they know they don't want to spend more than $50. Easy way to be able to show the product that fits their needs without having to have them click around too much. And then this last one here is time-saving extras. You can't buy time. So whatever you can do to show customers that your brand helps support them, whether it be local delivery, gift wrapping's a big one obviously at this time of year, fast delivery, all those services are huge value adds for your customers. So if you offer them, make sure to shout them really loud. So more than anything else, if you have things like this, don't bury the lead. Make sure it's very obvious in both your marketing and your site experience. All right, we're going to move on to our third tip here. So this is attracting traffic before the rush. Doesn't it feel like Black Friday now starts on November 1st? It's really a Black Friday month now. So when we talk about sell it, we're really talking about the full month of November, honestly. What does that mean for you? Get ahead of the competition and market to them before Black Friday. You don't want your customers to spend their budget elsewhere before they come to you. Grab their wallets now and get ahead of the competition. So going off of our last tip around unique messaging, think about why your customers would shop early with you. It could be fun things like a limited edition or like a brand or founder's favorite. That especially is like a fun thing to tout in social. Share your own gift list, make it really personal. You can use these tactics across your marketing arsenal. You can use it on your site. Easy ways for the customers to find kind of like fun must-have items. And we're gonna go over urgency still too. Urgency is a big one as well. You can definitely also highlight must-have items through channels that lend authenticity. So it could be founders' favorites, or you could have some great influencers in social that help tout their favorites from your brand as well to have more voices add to that authenticity. Or it could be personal, like automated email. We're going to go through a lot of automated emails soon. So here's an example of an email going straight to the homepage, where we're going to talk a lot about matching your marketing to your merchandising in a minute. So this is a great little email. Get early access to Black Friday deals. So this could be something that you start to email out the first couple weeks of November, depending on how often you can promote. And then this links directly to what the customer saw in the email, right? Visit your local store. So it could be some interesting tactics too around being able to drive in-store versus online traffic as well. Visit your local store to get 25 off during Black Friday sale. So just to find like early access message here. You could definitely use a promotional tactic and promote sales like this one is doing. Just make sure to use it sparingly. We're gonna go over a little bit of inventory analysis next, but if you've got high margin items, big buys, those are really good candidates for an early promotion. All right, now we're gonna move into the calendar. I did a little teaser on the calendar here. So you've got some strategies for effective messaging, merchandising, thinking about what you gotta get ahead of in terms of building your marketing, your site experience. Now let's put that into a marketing calendar. Why do you need a marketing calendar? You need to understand what you're marketing and why. This is really the foundation of running your business. I'll show you an example in a minute, but by seeing where, if you kind of like put everything out that you want to message and market, it's amazing to see like how much visibility you get to your own thought processes. It's going to alert you to places where you may have messaging fatigue. It keeps the conversation fresh by like forcing you to have variety because you can see it, and also ensures that you're focusing on the right products and getting enough love across your entire assortment. So to effectively build a calendar, you have to go through the exercise of analyzing your inventory. What are your big buys? Those must get enough play in your calendar so you can move through the inventory, right? You bought them to sell them, make sure you're marketing them. Small buys, stay away from them too much, or make sure to market them at the beginning of the season so that you don't have out of stocks, which can cause a very poor customer experience. Make sure you understand what your margin is. So some examples here. So this is another one of our faux brands, Elementary Eyewear, like we've seen before. So this is the Betty, this great little yellow acetate glasses. So it sells for $200, cost is $50, versus the Archie is $200 and sells for $100. So the Betty, you get $150. So for everyone you sell, your margin's $150. This is your highest margin item, and good job. It's your highest buy, right, at $400 versus Archie has $200 and the Vero has $200. So highest margin item at 75% margin. So that's definitely one that you're going to want to promote as much as possible because you bought that one to sell and make your season. Definitely check out our masterclass tomorrow taught by Brittany Sheffield on creating a great holiday promotional strategy to dive more into this inventory analysis and about how to create a promotion. So now you memorize your assortment. Now look at how your marketing has been going. You can pull up a tool like campaign reporting in Mailchimp to look at the trends in your marketing. What product messages have resonated most? What channels are performing best? How's your email working? Are you getting sales from social? Are you getting sales from paying ads? At this point in the planning, it's just helpful to understand roughly what your channel mix should be. You don't need to know the nitty-gritty yet of like, this is going to be my subject line for this email on this day. But being able to understand what calendar, I guess maybe what marketing channels you need to create the calendar for is important at this stage. All right, so you got the 1-2 punch now. You've looked at your inventory, you know what you bought, you know what's working in your marketing. Now let's build a calendar. So here is my example calendar, mapping out my communications day by day. I can't tell you how many times in my career I would build out my homepage calendar, I would build out my email calendar, and then I would go look at the month view. And I talked about the same 3 products every single day. I had the same messaging. The calendar just ensured that I would look back after kind of that first pass. I had enough variety of my products, messaging, and channels, creating that dynamic customer experience. This also, and we're gonna go through this next, helps you make sure that your marketing matches your merchandising, which is crucial. But really playing it out here will make sure that you sell your inventory that you have, not what you want, but what you have, and keep customers subscribed and engaged with all of your newness. So just some examples here, you can see that I've employed some of the tactics that we talked about. I've got some Black Friday early access sales in here, even some ways to drive traffic, like in the first month of November. And we're gonna go through next about how your marketing should match your merchandising. So we'll go back to this calendar once we go through this tip. So now that you've built your marketing calendar, you need to add your site merchandising plan to that calendar. Why? This is the key to building a seamless customer experience. It will increase your click-through rate. So you'll see CTR peppered through my presentation. That's click-through rate and conversion by making it really easy for customers to find what you're marketing when they hit your site. So you can accomplish this in many ways depending on what your e-commerce solution or platform is. The most important rule of thumb is, just like we talked about, marketing strategy needs to match merchandising strategy. You always want to make sure that wherever they're clicking through, the URL that you put in any of your marketing lands straight to some type of page in your site experience that features that product. This is one example here. So if you're using Mailchimp, for example, you could build out a special landing page to feature that product. So this is it looks like it's a little personalized email, right? Just for you, showing the Veronica. And so Elementary Eyewear used landing pages to build out this and show the Veronica right here. Bonus points too to make sure you're showing complementary product. So just like we talked about before in building the cart, take it one step further, merchandise complementary product on that landing page. It could be that outfit that we talked about, maybe, or even product that isn't selling well and needs visibility. It says that same mentality that we talked about in tip 1 in growing the cart. And then another pro tip here, when you get into the season, make sure you're also using your calendar it reminds you what you're marketing. You can do that double check to make sure that your inventory is still there. It's a really poor customer experience to have out of stock items, or for those of you who sell sized product, make sure that you actually have pretty decent size runs and you don't have broken sizes. This will ensure that great customer experience, ensure that brand trust and that brand loyalty. So kind of going back to that calendar, so you can see here, so what I focused on for Elementary Eyewear is a homepage, an email, and social. And you can see here how my homepage matches up with my email and social. Messages for that day, it's a good reminder. This is very high level, but it's a good reminder to make sure that whenever you flip your homepage, you would have the same thing in your marketing and vice versa. So everything lines up. And again, this is an example where I decided email and social was an important channel here. This could have your paid strategy here. This could have organic and paid social. This could have affiliate, influencer, whatever marketing channels you need to drive your business. All right, now we're gonna move on to sell it. So Black Friday is here, aka November, if we're getting ahead of the competition. And now we're in sell it mode. And you are more than ready with all of your planning. Let's dive into a few tips for successful in-season management. So building your list. So build your list through promo codes. Really important, build your list at this critical time. You can use promo codes to help you. The holy grail of marketing is getting that email address. You have a free way of communicating with your customers, and you can do so through marketing emails or newsletters. I know as a lot of you guys call that, or you can do that through personalized automated emails, which is great. And you should be getting a lot of increased traffic. So make sure you have that sign up form ready to go, and we're gonna go through that. So this first example would be using something like a Mailchimp sign up form that you can embed into your site or into your landing pages. A couple tips here. So this obviously prompts, what a sign up form does is it prompts visitors to give their email. There are lots of different ways you can do this. More than anything else, make sure that those sign-up forms are obvious. Make sure you're merchandising them in places that you know you're getting eyeballs, right, or customers are viewing. Don't just put them down on the footer where they're gonna get lost. Make sure they're meeting your customer where your customer is to be able to even give them an opportunity to opt in. I've had a lot of success doing a pop-up form. So when you know, if you can cookie your users, you know that if you have non-cookied users coming in or non-cookied customers or browsers coming in, that pop-up form pops up, and we're gonna go through promo codes here. Might have a nice promo code and say, hey, give us your email and get 20% off today only or something like that. That's a great, really obvious way. We built our list tremendously at Carter's by using that pop-up form coupled with a coupon. So you can take those sign-up forms a step further. So going into like the more advanced part now here, incorporating a promo code. So these are a couple different ways of showing how you can use a promo code to be able to incentivize customers to give their emails. So this first example is kind of what we just talked about. Really a classic example of just putting a code into the sign-up form, or really a promotion in the sign-up form. This is $1 off. You can do a % off. Definitely, again, check out that masterclass tomorrow in promotional strategy to be able to get ahead of how to plan what that promo code should be. And that would be something where the customer opts in, then you send them. Obviously, don't give them the promo code before. Make sure you send them the promo code in that email after they've opted in. This middle example is SMS. I've been seeing this more and more out there, and it's a great way to have another channel to reach your customers when they're not on the site, if it matches the solution that you're using right now. Everyone's shopping on their phone. It's toggle back and forth between SMS and their browser. Definitely gets you where your customer is right now. I've even seen brands do what I'm going to call a double opt-in. We're going to talk a little bit about double opt-ins, where you don't get the promo code until you give them your email and your cell. It's a really interesting idea. This one on the right too is kind of the same thing. So this one is asking for a zip code and your email. I will say, unless you know you can use the data, keep it simple. The more friction a customer has, aka just the more information that they need to fill in, the more likely they are to bounce. If you know you can use that data for something, and you know that you can get more effective marketing through it, right, and you can reach more people with more information, great. Just make sure that you're going to use it if you're going to ask for it. All right, so now we're going to move on to tip 7. So we're building that list, we're getting those emails. How do you get traffic to your site then and get them to convert? You use a sense of urgency. So this really all centers around messaging, right? This is using the right messaging to get customers to interact with your marketing first. So urgency in your marketing, and then urgency in your messaging on your site when they get there, and incentivizing them to convert. So we're going to walk through a couple examples of how you can do that both in your marketing and in your site merchandising. So one here is time-sensitive countdowns. So this is an example of marketing emails or newsletters. This isn't like automated or personalized. And this could be on your site. This could be screaming loud on your homepage for everyone to see. Use time-sensitive countdowns to build urgency. These visuals here show some examples. So you can see the messaging here, today only. And this even has a little promo, right? Like buy a cheesecake and get a free blueberry crumble cake for free. Or on the right here, it's down here, only 12 hours left. This one, just like we talked about with opt-ins, don't bury the lead. Make sure that you're screaming any urgency loud and proud. This is a great place to put in subject lines. It's a great place to put in a homepage hero banner if you're looking at your site merchandising. Make sure it's really clear to customers to be able to drive that urgency. So you can use urgency even more powerfully through personalized or automated emails, right? Like abandoned cart emails. This could be something that you're using Customer Journey Builder and Mailchimp for example, to be able to build those personalized communications. So this is our Crux fragrance company, another one of our brands. So you can see here that the subject line says almost sold out, building that urgency. And it's also saying don't forget your items, and it's saying that the availability is not guaranteed. So not only does Crux give you the right subject line to hopefully get that open right, they're also reminding the customer that they were browsing, they had something in their cart, and it's going to sell out soon. So really like a triple urgency threat there. And then this tactic can also be used in your site merchandising. Depending on what your e-com platform or solution supports, you might be able to use something called product or inventory flags, is what we've called them. So you can see in this example, Big Mood Spa on their site, this is the product detail page for the clay mask. You can see right here, it says only 7 left, ships tomorrow. This example is super specific as it's actually inventory aware and has 7, saying that there's 7 left. You can use something generic like low stock, like hurry, like, almost gone, something like that, to be able to drive customers into that fear of missing out, right, or FOMO, that they have to buy it now or else they're not going to be able to buy that product at all. So one other thing that I don't have a visual for, but going back to shipping too, is really important. So as you get closer to Christmas, you can use what my team always called the shipping cutoff to create urgency. What does that mean? It means you're messaging the last day for free or standard shipping in your marketing and on your site. This honestly is a great thing to get ahead of and just make sure that you understand when the last day is that you can take orders to be able to effectively get those orders to customers. Again, creating the best customer experience possible. You want customers to make sure that if they're going to check out from you, they're going to get their gifts on time. We would even run a countdown to really create that sense of urgency and make sure to remind customers like, hey, if you don't buy now, you're gonna miss the opportunity to buy from this brand at all, to be able to get your gifts before the holidays. All right, so last one here in Sell It is continuing the conversation. So we want to continue the conversations to get customers back to our site. I'm going to high level cover this as there's a lot here. I would encourage everyone to sign up for other masterclasses. Glenn Edley is teaching one later this week around great marketing growth tactics. I think that one is on Wednesday, so I encourage everyone to sign up for that one and dive more into detail here. At a high level, you don't want to wait for customers to come back to you. There's a stat I saw floating out there that 97% of people who visit your site for the first time leave without buying anything. 97%. Almost everyone, right? Once they leave your site, you can reach them through a variety of tactics and marketing to continue the conversation and remind them what they are browsing on in your store. So there's a couple of different tactics here. There's free and paid tactics. And when I say continue the conversation, I mean personal one-to-one marketing, not newsletters here. I mean using, whether it's automated emails, or we're going to go through an example of a paid remarketing tactic, making sure that these are personalized all the way to exactly what that product was that the browser or customer was looking at and potentially even had in their cart. Here it really depends too, do you have their email address or not, in terms of what marketing tactics you're going to look at to be able to continue the conversation. So in this example here, so this is an abandoned cart. I know we've gone through abandoned cart emails a little bit already. So abandoned cart emails are one example of that personalized email strategy. We found, and you can look this up, we're going to put some links for some of the Mailchimp products in the chat after. So when you look at the abandoned cart emails on the Mailchimp site, we found that you can drive 34 times more orders by using personalized emails rather than bulk emails. Or bulk emails would be your newsletters, right? Where you're sending them out to most of your list. So this is a great example of using automations like Customer Journey Builder, where you can create those personalized conversations and it shows exactly what that customer or browser had already added to the cart. You know they're interested enough in it, right? Because they already added it to their cart. Remind them that it's there and get them to come back to your site. And then you can use a lot of those other site merchandising tactics that we already talked about to be able to grow their cart and get them to convert as well. If you have a bit of budget to spend, so here's a fun little visual, also from the Mailchimp site. Look at the paid version of personalization. So the example here would be what's called retargeting or remarketing. Have you ever browsed on something on a retailer's website and then later that day you see that product or that brand's ads everywhere? That's a retargeting ad. You can use Mailchimp to buy ads from Google to do these remarketing ads, for example. Think of it as it's really just another form of an abandoned cart email, right? It's just that you don't have their email address, so you need to pay to go find them somewhere and really show them what they had abandoned in their cart or they kind of abandoned browsing, if you will. One pro merchandising tip here, make sure that you keep on top of, and this is where your calendar will come really in handy, and make sure you include these things in your calendar. Make sure not to market sold out items, as it's, again, you want to create that great customer experience. Don't erode, brand trust or brand loyalty. Don't show out of stock items. Everyone gets in this situation. I've noticed that a lot from key brands, that they're showing their highlighted product of the season and it's already been so popular that it's sold out. Get ahead of that, especially more of your bulk emails or your newsletters, right? To make sure you keep that great customer experience. We are in the home stretch now. How do you learn from your holidays and close out the season successfully? So we've got two tips here. One, the holiday's not over until you've cleared out the inventory that you bought to sell for Black Friday. And what I mean here is, I don't mean clear out all of your inventory. I mean, assess what inventory you need to carry into January and through Q1. Especially right now, it's a It's a tough climate overall with supply chains and things like that. So make sure that you really understand what you need to carry through to get you through probably that first quarter or so. But you want to make sure you start working on clearing any excess, because you still will have end of season shopping, that end of Christmas, kind of especially like Boxing Day, right? And that time between Christmas and New Year's, or Christmas until when people go back to school and work, is still a really big shopping period. So make sure you're getting out there and attracting those browsers and customers during that time period. So this is where you're going to want to revisit your calendar and use those same strategies to create that end of season promotional plan. So here's an example of going and analyzing your inventory, right, to protect margin. And this is where you've hopefully used all the tips we've already talked about. You have that bigger list because you've done a lot of opt-ins with promo codes. You can reach back out to browsers, you can reach back out to customers using their email, or maybe you can use those remarketing ads if they still have not checked out on what's in their cart and what's in their cart is still in stock. We're gonna make sure we could create that sense of urgency as well in all of our marketing and our merchandising. So going back to our example of elementary eyewear, here's what we netted out for our hypothetical business with our Archie, Betty, and Vero. So like we talked about, we bought a lot of Betty, right? Dang, we had great sell-through on the Archie, we had 88% sell-through on the Archie. The Vero sold really well. I had a lot left of the Betty. I only sold 25% of my inventory. This is a great candidate to drive urgency. This is a great candidate to drive abandoned cart. So here's an example here of using abandoned cart. So I had a ton left of the Betty. Great thing is this was my highest margin item, so I can promote it a little more. And so here's a example of an abandoned cart email. So the subject line saying your cart is on sale. So make sure, again, don't bury the lead. Make sure that your subject line is really like loud and proud in terms of what it is that the customer is going to get by opening that email. And this is saying, come back, the Betty is now 40% off. So a great way to show sense of urgency. I mean, here you could even say, hurry, like almost out of stock. I mean, make sure you're not like completely lying, but almost out of stock, or hurry, the sale, ends in a week. Some type of urgency there to be able to get people to come back and convert. Here is just an example for your newsletters, right, or your bulk or non-personalized emails. You can create strong sales here by continuing to use that sense of urgency and make sure you show products that are actually on sale. So again, going back to great customer experience, marketing, matching your merchandising, show products that are actually on sale here. So this is a great way that maybe customers who haven't been looking at that product see that, and maybe they weren't willing to buy it full price, but they're definitely willing to buy it. And maybe they never put it in their cart, right? But they're definitely willing to buy it when it's on sale. So make sure you show some great product there. I think it's best practice not to show just like a big red square and say, end of season clearance. Make sure you actually show some product that you're selling and you really want to make sure you move. All right, this is our last tip here, home stretch. All right, this is really a tip for Black Friday 2022. So what you want to do is you want to hindsight to grow sales even more in 2022. In my experience, this strategy is crucial to make sure you're growing sales year after year. It doesn't just stop once the holiday is over. It's kind of like eating your vegetables, just like before when you needed to create a plan. You've got so many other issues now, closing out the season, it's after Christmas, you've just had a very, very busy couple months. Tons of other issues that need to be solved now. But if you don't hindsight, you won't remember when you go and build your plan next year. Make sure you at least write down the basics and you can learn from your wins and your opportunities. So some of the strategies I've used, I have literally in the past, I have pulled my calendar out. So that calendar that we have, pull that calendar out. I would pull up something like campaign reporting that you see here, and I would identify. I would either take my spreadsheet and type things in my spreadsheet or write things on paper. I would go day by day, look at what my sales were by day, my site traffic was by day, if I had that. If I sent an email, what was that open rate, or could I attribute the sales to that email? Everything around kind of performance of both your site and your sales back to your marketing. Look at what your trends were, what your successes were. We've already looked a little bit about our inventory, what were best sellers, what had to be discounted. Really just kind of look at everything you did during this time period and start to build out that rough calendar for next year. More than anything, you want to make sure you anniversary on what worked well and you stay away from maybe what didn't work well, or at least you know what didn't work well and you can always reassess next year. The great thing is any insights, good or bad, is going to help you immediately as you can take that into account for how to run your business right now. And so you've done a lot of analyzing here. You've kind of done a ton of digging into the data, right? But sometimes you don't know, what happened, but you don't know why. Definitely use a tool like surveys to start thinking about your inventory, right? A lot of times it's like, okay, I know that didn't work, but is it because it was, poor color? Maybe I didn't merchandise it very well. Maybe I didn't market it enough. Surveys are a great way to just trying to figure out some more qualitative data, right? And ask your customers what their opinions are. This one is relatively generic, right? This is like how satisfied you are with the business. I will put a lot of great product questions in here. I'm sure you guys have seen from big corporate brands, a lot of people are looking for, customers to be part of their panels to inform on their surveys. So this is that same type of tactic. All right, to recap, we're gonna wrap up the top 10 tips here. So top 10 tips for a successful holiday season. So get ready for the season, aka start now. It's October 4th, which is crazy. By bundling, growing that cart, right, creating really unique messaging and getting ahead of the competition. And you're gonna take all those strategies and use them as you build out a marketing and merchandising calendar, which is gonna be the foundation of your plan. Then when Black Friday is here, you're gonna use promo codes to capture emails and build that list with all that traffic you're gonna get. Use urgency in both your marketing and your merchandising, and make sure to have those personal one-to-one conversations through personalized marketing, both with browsers and customers, to get them back to your site. And then when it's all over, make sure to have an end of season strategy to get rid of excess inventory and carve out time to Hindsight for the next season and start planning for next year. And with that, we're gonna turn it over to Q&A. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Remember to put your questions in the Q&A box. I'm gonna ask my amazing teammate, Amy, as I stop screen sharing, to give me the first question.
Thank you, Melinda. Hi, everyone. All right, so first question. As a small business, we may not have the funds to develop a website. What would you recommend?
Ooh, so you can build a Mailchimp store for free and start using the Mailchimp marketing platform for free. It's connected to your store. You just start to pay when you make your first sale. So a lot of those tips that we went through in terms of building up that site merchandising, starting to build your list, being able to send out emails, be able to send out automated and personalized emails, you can start all of that for free. And then the great thing is you only start paying when you start making sales and growing your business.
Good to know. Alrighty, so how do you select the proper items to put a discount on during the holiday season? Should I choose the best sellers or new products?
So you definitely want to look at your best sellers because if you know that they are your best sellers, you know that customers like them. So if you promote them a little bit, you don't have to go super deep, but if you promote them a little bit, you know that you're going to get potentially even a higher than average build or lift, and you can use that, kind of going back to like merchandising more things around that item and building your cart. Use that to be able to also give exposure to maybe items that aren't selling as well. So definitely make sure to promote your best sellers within reason. With new items, the tactic that I was taking is you don't want to set the precedent that as soon as a item goes live on your site for the first time, it's instantly promoted. I like to wait at least a couple weeks and see what's happening, and maybe even a shorter period of time given this condensed time window to sell things. I think the best, like we talked about a little bit, the best ways to promote, or the best candidates for promotion are going to be big buys that you know you need to get through and high margin items. And then thinking about kind of that, going back to building that calendar, thinking about getting enough variety across your different promotions so that you're promoting things that you know customers like, coupled with potentially things that you aren't selling well that you need to discount to be able to move through.
Nice. Alrighty, can you tell me more about how to start a mailing list and create a newsletter?
Yes. Okay. So we went through a couple tips, right, around creating a mailing list. So you've got your store. Make sure that you're having that sign up form really visible, right? That's going to be the key to growing your mailing list of all the traffic that's driving to your site. Definitely check out some of the other masterclasses this week in terms of focusing, like Glenn Edley's, in terms of focusing on what are all those different marketing tactics that can drive traffic to your site. So we went over today some of the basics of, okay, once you get that traffic to your site, how do you make sure to convert them? How do you make sure to get their emails? But whether it's going to be using some paid tactics, thinking about your social following and how do you get those social followers to your site is a big one. But more than anything, make sure that you have the ability for customers or browsers to sign up for your newsletters when they get to the site. So that's first and foremost. They can't sign up unless that's there. And And then creating newsletters, think about some of the things, the tips that we talked about as well, around unique messaging, thinking about your calendar too, of just making sure that you're getting enough variety, right? And you don't have message fatigue. And more than anything, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, like think about what your customers need. So the newsletters, so for customers that interact with newsletters, it has to be something that they're interested in, that they need. So make sure to always put yourself in your customer's shoes. What are your customers looking for from the types of products that you sell or from your brand at this time of year? That goes a long way in terms of creating an effective newsletter.
Awesome. All right, I think we have time for two more. So how do I convert followers to sales and create winning descriptions and postings?
So followers, so if we're talking about social, think about, again, going back to that, creating effective messaging for your customers of like what they need. You definitely want, and think creating a calendar. So definitely want to create that social content calendar. We'll make sure that you don't have message fatigue, that you've got variety, that you're making sure to talk about enough that relates to your brand. Create that calendar. General rule of thumb is post about one time a day, at least one time a day. And then make sure, just like a lot of the tips we talked about, make sure that you have a really clear call to action. So if you've got a great social following and you're sharing things, whether in your posts or in your stories, how do you make sure that it's really clear that if they click this link, where are they going to go? What do you want your customers to do? So this is a great place to employ some of those tactics around promotions, driving a sense of urgency, maybe like a unique kind of get ahead of the competition, like an early Black Friday deal, would all be interesting ways to be able to drive followers to your site.
Got it. All right, this is a good one. I've seen a couple of people ask this question in the chat. So what's the best way to take advantage of Black Friday and Cyber Monday for those without a strong retail-focused business, like a moving company or a glass company or a hair salon?
So don't sell yourself short. So obviously you may think that it's not right for the Black Friday time period, but honestly, use those same tactics that we've talked about. So first and foremost, think about why your customers are buying from you, right? Like, to reiterate again, think about what it is that your customers would want from you at this time period, or maybe even in Q1. So like moving company, for example, a lot of people move in Q1, like, right, there's a lot of houses sold. A lot of people may be changing jobs right in the beginning of the year. Think about maybe how do you get people to convert early and offer some type of deal if they'll commit and pay you a deposit, right, on services for Q1. So you could definitely get ahead of when your peak of business might be, if it's not in Black Friday, is a good example. Thinking about what your customers need and how do you reach them through messaging that shows what they need. Think about time saving is always important. I think, there's kind of that also indirect effect of customers are holding family gatherings, are decorating their homes. Like, think about kind of that whole ecosphere of what people are going through at this time of year. And can't stress enough, like, promotions are always a relevant thing. So make sure that you don't shy away from the right promotions to be able to drive that traffic and that conversion at this time of year too.
Great. All right. I think we have time for one more. This is a good one too. So what are a few must-do tasks for first-year businesses to get that initial sale during this time of year with so many sales? So the market is saturated, people are buying things. How do I make sure that my stuff sticks out and is available for purchase?
Yeah, so I guess we didn't really talk about this yet, but think about who your best customers are. So we didn't talk a lot about segmented emails. We talked a lot about personalized emails. So when you go back and look at your data of like what's been happening so far this year, think about who your best customers are and make sure you go after them first. It's kind of that same mindset that we talked about with building a cart. Wouldn't it be great to get more sales off of the same amount of customers, right? You will get more sales off of your best customers. So first and foremost, figure out who those people are. Figure out what they've been buying from you. Surveys might be a thing about like figuring out why they're buying from you, and go after that. They're going to be your number one source to be able to start growing your business more, is always going after your most valuable customers. And then definitely employing some of the tactics we talked about, getting ahead of the competition, figuring out how to drive urgency, thinking about some unique messaging is going to be great to stand out. Even using other people like influencers would be a great tactic because it gets your brand out there outside of just the following that you have so far. So think about other ways that you can reach out to other parts of the community, right? or other potential buyers to be able to get your brand out there.
Perfect. Well, that's all for the Q&A, Melinda.
All right. I'm going to share my screen one more time to wrap up. All right. I want to thank all of you for making the time to attend this Top 10 Tips Mailchimp Masterclass today. This is the first class of our Mailchimp Masterclass series that's going to run for the next 2 weeks. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to go check it out and register for other courses. I know I referenced a lot of them in the beginner track that are going to be going through the end of next week. And for those of you who want additional support and want to talk to an expert around how to use some of these tactics, make sure to check out our service partner directory on Mailchimp.com. You can get connected with a service partner and get expert help in using some of these tips to use in Mailchimp. So thank you again. I'm wishing everyone the best this holiday season. Go crush it.